working within your system like 100% worked for me. And it was actually like the process, it created honestly such an incredible process. So I'm just going to kind of like talk out loud, and then maybe when you rewatch it, you can like take what you need and like piece what you want together. But
Yeah, go for it.
the end goal ended up happening. And so I got a job with Truvani. One of the co-founders is a New York Times bestselling author. She's a food activist. And so I'm doing all of their product development within the food and the personal care. So all of that being said, like your program literally worked. And I'm just going to speak more like honestly and openly. I liked the process, like actually more than the end result. And
that's
so
how it's supposed to be. Everyone joins wanting that result. And yes, you get the result, but in hindsight, it's always the most exciting part is always who you become in the process and the fact that you can reuse that process for the rest of your life.
100%. From your program, the thing that worked the most for me was the building of the relationships, as well as the hypothesis. And I was like, just looking back at the hypothesis and then to take it a step further, just a quick side note, in human design, I don't know if you know human design, but I'm like a 5-2 or a 2-5, which means that I manifest two ways. I manifest in my mind, and there's like, I can manifest on paper, but then there's like also the soul component. So the hypothesis part, I still go back to because I have a feeling that whatever I do for the rest of my life is going to be encompassed in what is what I wrote in the hypothesis Excel sheet, my massive Excel sheet that I put together which I love. So those two things like honestly changed my life. And like everyone in New York was just like, I don't understand your life. Like you just have like so many good things going for you. This is where I think you can control so much. And it felt like the process, using your process, honestly felt like I was on the coolest wave, like just riding this wave. It got to the point where in the beginning, the very first time I had to put myself out there, because, you know, with the whole building of relationships and then putting together a calendar of things that align with what your mission statement is, the first like 2 or 3 times I put myself out there, it felt like a first date. Like it felt uncomfortable, but then you get your feet wet and it's like, then you just kind of are like used to it. And then like 2 or 3 events in, I ended up meeting like women who would change my life. And so what ended up happening was I would put on the calendar like these cool events at the UN, and then there would be these like food events with women. And because I only had so much energy after the workday, I would just naturally have energy to go more to like the food events with women. Like on paper, I was like, no, I want to go to like the UN events. But in my heart, it didn't really call to me.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So really you learned how to listen to your gut and make decisions according to what, you know, that kind of inner wisdom that so often we are taught to not pay attention to due to, right, all the social
exactly. It created
expectations.
Yeah, what you came up with created a framework for me. Because I can get very like too many ideas, analysis paralysis, or whatever they call that. Where it was just like obvious in my heart. Like I had just had natural energy to go to these events, and these events, I wasn't sure, like, I was like, I don't know who's going. I don't know if like on paper, you know, it would make sense. I ended up meeting, one of the founders of BuzzFeed Tasty, which is like 48 million followers.
I remember that.
There was another person. I love her. She ended up inviting me to all these events at Soho House, and like, it all sounds bougie, but like, it just felt so good.
And you know what? If your vision of a dream life includes being bougie, or you know, someone else would say, "Oh, that's so bougie. Who are you? What are you doing?" But if that's what you want, and to you that's exciting, you know, someone else would say, "Oh, doing that job, that seems, it doesn't matter what other people might look at. If you think that's an exciting life and that's the life you want, then you need to go
No,
out and get it.
absolutely. And like, oh, Dahlia, just talking to you just like is like reinvigorating me. So basically it felt like so many good things were happening. I actually could not keep up. And I do remember like right before COVID being like, I actually want this to like slow down a little because it was like so many good things were happening. I was meeting so many people. Um, and I didn't want to like give up on any of these opportunities. And so it was just like, it was just too in like the best way possible, like way too many good things happening. And
Yeah,
then
that's what happens when you start being in demand, right?
yes,